Hi, this is Aamir Khan, and you'll catch me on Sit with Hitlist.
Your contribution to music. So a childhood friend of mine spent 10 days in your house. He assists Amit Trivedi. Okay.
Oh,
So these two were holed up in your house for 10 to 15 days
in Panchgani.
Panchgani. And I had no idea
Huh.
that you stay in the house all day, all night, and all you're doing is just coming, checking music, what's going on. Like that's like a 24-hour job for you. How important especially for a Bollywood producer or a Hindi film producer is it to know your music? Like, are you trained in music?
No, I'm not trained in music. I'm not trained in music. And to be perfectly accurate, this is not how I'm involved in the music in every film. So typically, for example, in a film like Dhoom 3, where Preetham, same composer, was working with on Dhoom 3, I didn't go for a single music session. Adi and Victor were interacting with him, and once the songs were ready, they used to bounce it off me, and if I had any reaction, I would give the reaction. In Tare Zameen Par or in Secret Superstar, I was much more involved in the process because I was a producer as well.
Right.
In that case, I was also the director. So where I'm producing the film, I'm much more actively involved. When I'm just the actor, unless the producer and director invite me to be part of the process, I don't become part of the process. So when I'm working with Mansoor, for example, on Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar or QSQT, so in that process, I was very closely involved with him on the music.
Right.
But so some films I am, some films I'm not.
But you when you say involvement, you mean like emotionally responding to the music around you, or do you make suggestions which are like a musician would make?
Musician, though I don't know, but see, I've not studied music, so I just react as I try and convey what I'm feeling to the composer. So if I have to tell Amit something, then I'll use words, actions, face. I might act out something and tell him कि मेरे को ये feel आ रहा है, मेरे को ये feel नहीं चाहिए, मुझे ये feel चाहिए, or whatever.
Right.
So Advait and me work together as a team. He's the director, I'm the producer, and we try and convey to him and to Kausar what we are looking for.
Right.
And when they show us something, when they play something to us, we give them a reaction. Is it on the right track? Is it not on the right track? Sometimes it can get technical. Sometimes, to whatever little knowledge I have, limited knowledge.
You do have basic technical knowledge of music.
A very basic,
Right.
basic. So I can suggest certain things, like if I like a tune, for example, in this case, the song where she sings "Main Kaun Hoon." मैं चांद हूँ या दाग हूँ. So the original tune that Amit had made was कोई ये बता दे मैं चांद हूँ या दाग हूँ, and it would go higher. His original tune used to go higher than
Even
this
higher
tune.
than the current one.
मैं चांद हूँ या दाग हूँ ना 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 ना. It was going higher, and it was going into falsetto. So I was getting uncomfortable with that. So I said, I'm not liking this falsetto. You're going too high. So can you do something else? Can you drop the thing? So now it is मैं चांद हूँ या दाग हूँ मैं राख हूँ या आग हूँ. He dropped it down instead of going high. So little bit I can.
And that was an emotional response.
Yeah, I was not liking it what I was hearing. So I said I don't want to go into falsetto because falsetto. Also in the other song they're using falsetto in मैं नचती फिरा. It ultimately at the end of the Mukhra goes into falsetto. So I was feeling that two important songs are both at one point going into falsetto. I didn't like that.
Right. Another thing common to a lot of your films is message. There's an underlying message. And that of course, that is the overarching theme, as it were. But one thing that one notices in a lot of your movies is there's always those one-liners, like Gyan one-liners, which, like even in a movie like Gajni, I remember, I don't know tell me if you remember it yourself, is that Singhania is giving a speech, right? And he talks about how if you know you can do something, that's confidence. If you think no one else can do it, that's arrogance. These are really cool, like nice one-liners, right? Do you have your favorites from your films that you're personally close to, those one-liners?
So, how did you start this thought? You said something before this.
So I was talking about this, of course, the
message.
Yeah.
So first of all, I want to just remind you that actually that's not the case.
Right.
So Gajni doesn't have a message. Neither
No,
does
I don't. Yeah,
Moonji
that I understand.
or Delhi Belly.
Right. What I'm talking about is these one-liners.
How one?
That even in a movie that doesn't have a message will have a one-liner which is a gap.
Yeah, but that's really something that the writers are doing. I'm not even.
But do you have personal
involved in.
favorites though?
Uh,
Like I know you keep quoting Chase Excellence from Three Idiots. Right?
That's one of my favorites because that's also something I believe in, and I've lived my life that way. That I don't believe in chasing success. You should just do what you think is good and what makes you happy, and you're doing it well.
Right.
And then success will come. If it's good, it will come.
Do you have any others from your movies?
I think Raju and Abhijat are pretty good with these one-liners. They have dialogues which pop, like all is well. They have these little things that you catch on to.
Jumlas.
He has jumlas, yeah. In PK also, I think there was something. I forget what now.
So you can think about that. We need to get to the audience and get some questions in.
Okay.
Guys?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
So, from the whole chat you've deduced
That's Mohar, by the way. And she's going to ask a question that will become our lead story for tomorrow. So,
Well, we had him on lead today also. So, Aamir, from whatever we've deduced, from this conversation, we understand that you're someone who works on the science of filmmaking a lot. Now, the science of filmmaking, how intrinsically is it linked with the maths of it or the economics of it?
Okay, so let me just fine-tune that. When I'm listening to a script, so it's not science of filmmaking, by the way, it's science of mass communication. Because filmmaking may sometimes choose not to be mass communication. And then it won't follow these laws. So it's the science of mass communication. When you're attempting to communicate to a whole vast, number of people who are from perhaps different backgrounds, and so you have to try and reach the common things in all of these people. Otherwise, there are many different things in all of us. So the science of mass communication is something that is important for us to understand when we are doing mass communication. But that's not how I begin. When I'm listening to a script, at that time I'm the audience. It's like you watching a film, I'm hearing a script. And at that time I'm reacting just emotionally to it. And emotionally, if it connects with me a bit, if I feel that I love it. So, for example, when I read the script of Delhi Belly, I was just floored with it. I was laughing. I was blown. Yeah? I said, wow, this is something we have to make. I just loved it. That time I'm not thinking of the science of mass communication. I'm just reacting to the audience. I love it. I want to do it. Then when we start working on it, then I sit with the writer or the director and I'm like, let's just check. Are we locking our goal early enough? What is the film saying? What is the premise of Delhi Belly? Delhi Belly ka premise hai, shit happens. That's the premise. It's that simple.
You look for a one-liner?
I look for a one-liner. Okay. So what is the premise? Yeah. What is the film trying to say at the bottom? It need not be an important message which is socially relevant, but you have to be wanting to say something. So, premise, does it have a premise? Does it have a clear enough premise? Do you want to sharpen it through the scenes? Is your goal locked well in advance? So, I'll tell you what by goal locking I mean. If a film goes on and on and on and you don't know where it's headed, you'll start losing interest in it. This is now one of the sciences, rules of mass communication. So, if you look at Lagan, बारिश नहीं हो रही है, लगान नहीं दे सकते, गोरा बोलता है कि हम लगान माफ कर देंगे, you beat us in cricket. And I say शर्त मंजूर है. The moment I say शर्त मंजूर है, your goal is locked. Now I know as an audience, अच्छा, cricket में इनको हराने वाले हैं, या hopefully हराएंगे. Goal is locked. I know where the film is ending as an audience. Now that journey from the goal locking to the goal has to be exciting, difficult, with a lot of obstacles, which makes it more exciting for me. So these are the basics I'm telling you of. You take any revenge film. Yaadon Ki Barat. Parents are killed, 3 brothers are separated. My goal is locked. And that happens in the first 10% of the film. My goal is locked. Now I want कि ये तीनों भाई मिले और अजीत को
फिर pay off होगा end में.
Ajit, they should take revenge from Ajit, and that's my goal as an audience. That's where I'm headed. That's what I'm looking forward to. And then the journey is exciting. Okay, sometimes the brothers meet, they don't know their brothers, falana damka, all of that. So, locking of goal is a very basic thing. So, do we have a goal locked early enough? Do we have interesting characters? Do we have interesting subplots? Because just having one main plot sometimes is not enough. It becomes too single-dimensional. You want to have subplots. Are the subplots getting over before the main plot? Because if the subplots are getting over after the main plot, I'm not interested in them. Because my main plot is over. You have already reached the goal. गाड़ी destination पहुंच गई है. लेकिन आपकी फिल्म अभी खत्म नहीं. आप मेरे को 10 चीजें और बोल रहे हो. You've not got me emotionally linked to those things. So the end becomes, starts going down. So these are basic, rules of mass communication in entertainment. So you need to understand them, but I don't work with them to begin with. I don't say कि यार अभी हम लोग ये rules के हिसाब से फिल्म बनाएंगे, वो ऐसे होता नहीं. So I go with an emotional response to a script, and in the process when we actually get down to working, I'm just checking, and sometimes we break the laws also. There are times when we decide कि यार this is not classic screenplay writing, but we know what we're doing and we're happy to break this law. Because ultimately the beauty of filmmaking is that there are no rules, finally. So the science is important to know, but you don't have to strictly follow it all the time. You have to go with your gut. It's like your mom cooking food. I often give that example. When she's cooking food, she will put things. Andaze se, she'll put things. Yeah. Sometimes she'll put an ingredient which she has earlier not used. And something happens to it. So it's a process which you go with your instinct many times.
Aamir, you will take this love stories.
Couple last ones.
Just last one.
Oh yeah.
You during the conversation, you give an emphasis on the word emotional connect.
Yeah.
Do you look at the emotional connect in all your films that you do?
Like
maybe a Dairy Milk or
all.
Or a Mela or a Secret Society.
Yeah. So the attempt is to be connected emotionally. And when I say emotionally, I don't mean crying.
Yeah.
Because we have various emotions. Normally when you say emotional, people feel acha rona dona. By emotion, what I mean is that some emotion is being tapped into. Either it's making you feel thrilled. Maybe it's a thriller which is exciting you. It's giving you a lot of stress because suspense is an emotion that is being tapped into. So it could be any emotion, a fear. It could be a horror film. So the film should connect with me emotionally is what I feel, and that is important to me.
So you were talking about goal locking in a film. So
Yeah.
But don't you feel that at times it's good to have something different towards the end of the movie, which maybe the audience is not expecting? Like a film like Talash. So it ended on a note which I guess nobody thought about it. So yeah.
So what you're saying is a twist in the plot.
Yeah.
The goal is still the same. So in Talash, Talash is a film about coming to terms with loss. So when the film begins, you have characters who are all struggling with loss. And as an audience, you want that ultimately they should come to peace, come to peace with what they have lost. So that is the goal of the film. And that remains. But what you're not expecting is that the journey to that goal will take this twist. It will still reach that goal. So that's a plot twist, if you know what I'm trying to say. So plot twists are good actually. So if you have a goal and you do lock the goal, and you are headed to that goal, but on the way you have a twist. So for example, in Lagan, goal is कि they have to win. अब twist क्या होता है कि वो लाखा जो है उनका treachery कर रहा है, but then he also flips. So you have plot points are good, which actually suddenly take you by surprise. What you were not expecting suddenly happens. Those are good things, but that your goal shouldn't shift.
Like a Bollywood producer once told me difference between art cinema and mainstream. They have great gyan to give, to be fair. And his point was that mainstream is where the audience already knows what's going to happen in the movie. And an art house film would be where they don't know what's going to happen, and perhaps nothing also happens, right?
No, I wouldn't describe it like that. I feel that in mainstream cinema, you should have a sense of where the film is headed. That is important.
Right.
But what is going to happen, at each stage, if you already know, then the film becomes too predictable. It becomes too predictable, and then you're like, "Arey, it doesn't engage you enough." So it's important to surprise the audience. If the audience is expecting something and something else happens, that's a very important aspect of good storytelling.
Right.
To engage you.
Last question. And Aamir, please be absolutely honest.
Yeah.
Sincere about this one.
Yeah. I've been sincere all through.
No, you've been. So, your assistant showed me a video of you and Jitendra's line, right? That you used in Secret Superstar.
Yeah.
I saw the film last night. Fantastic film, by the way.
Thank you.
Now, this man that you play,
Shakti Kumar,
who's hilarious, he is clearly named after Shakti Kapoor, right?
No.
I mean, he's a sleazoid and he's called Shakti, right? That's one. Second, he sounds a lot like Anil Kapoor, okay? And like Anu Malik. I would have never thought so if I didn't see both of them in that screening. There must be a reason why you call them, right?
No.
These are inspirations? Come up with it.
See, there are a few things I've taken from various people. I've used Anil's style of talking a few times. Like in that scene where I'm at the award night and I say कि awards लेते थक गया हूँ I'm tired. So that's a very Anil style. So that speaking style I've taken from him a little bit. When he says bye to you on the phone, Anil, he never says one bye. So if I'm like, Anil, see you, bye, he won't just say bye, okay, bye. He'll say, yeah, okay, bye. वो ऐसे 7-8 bye आते हैं उसके. So I've taken a few things in his style of talking, and some things from here and there which like I was mentioning in that video. Actually, there are some things that stay with me. So Jitu ji once came to meet my uncle, and I was his assistant at that time. And I'm really fond of Jitu ji because he's a gem of a guy, really wonderful guy. And he's got a great sense of humor and all, So he came to meet my uncle just for a cup of tea, and I was sitting there, and he said, "Na sahab, मुझे double roll offer हुआ है. मुझसे एक रोल ठीक से नहीं होता, मुझे 2 रोल दे." Yeah, he's such a fab guy, and just his, the way he is so, making a joke on himself and all that. But he used a word that time. He said कि मुझे एक रोल मुझसे ठीक से नहीं होता, मुझे 2 रोल दे रहे हैं. But मतलब देखते हैं क्या होगा, Buck Up India. So I just Buck Up India. I said, wow, that's a good one. And then whenever I met Jitu ji, he used to use Buck Up India. So if I meet him even now, he says, बेटा तुम्हारी फिल्म कब रिलीज हुई है? I say, sir, December में आ रही है. हाँ, Buck Up India. So that stuck with me. So in this film also, when I'm making a scene, I say, चलो बेटा, शाबाश, Buck Up India. So so some things stay with you, and you kind of use them at some point.
Right.
So this character is a mix of many things, but ultimately, I'm not copying anyone.
There's no Anu Malik in it whatsoever.
Now, don't ask me who's in it. All I'm saying is that there is a little Anu.
There is, right? Come on. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that it's actually, I'm not mimicking anybody, because I can't do that. So what I've done is I've taken a lot from various personalities, and then I've kind of mixed it into one, and I've made that my personality in the film, Shakti Kumar's personality in the film. And then I'm being honest with that,
He's the kind of guy who'll fit in very, very well into a guilty pleasure movie. Like by himself, but all the other characters are also like him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I remember you're a fan of a lot of guilty pleasure movies, because one of the films you told me that you loved was a movie called Sandwich. I don't know if you've seen it since. So
yeah,
Sandwich is Govinda. Have you
Govinda.
seen it? Right?
Yeah.
And the thing that you said why you loved Sandwich is because you just don't know what's going to happen in the movie next.
Yeah,
you just never know.
Bizarre things happen, and and it's such a funny film. It's a really funny film, and he gets into all kinds of trouble with both his wives at different times, and somehow he manages to come out of it every time. And it's it's a lovely watch. Actually, I've always been a big fan of Govinda because his ability to make you laugh is unbelievable, and he's such an amazing actor, very good actor. It's like he's on a trip, and you're like, how does he get into that zone when he's doing that? I really admire him as an actor.
Speaking of zoning, and that's something that Secret Superstar also, has portions of, which is where this little girl, she's in class, okay, and the teacher's teaching, but her mind is on a tune.
Somewhere else, huh?
Is on a tune that she's got, something else that she's thinking of, which is what happens to a lot of musicians actually. Rahman says that about himself, like he's been a musician professional since 12, and he says that when he gets into that zone, once he zones in, he has no clue what's happening in the world
around him, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like people tell him like the news of the biggest news and it's like, oh, what happened? That seems to happen to you too, right? You seem to disappear completely when you're locked into a film. Do you get into a similar zone like right before this where you feel like a tug inside you?
No, I do get into zone when I'm working, and I mean it happens in periods. So there are times when I'm like just not I lose focus of everything around me, and I'm too sharply focused onto one thing, and that is the thing that's exciting me and engaging me. Which right now is Secret Superstar.
And then you go back to Tugs.
I'll go back to Tugs after Diwali. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.